Welcome back to the Live with Audacity podcast. You're listening to episode 16. I'm your host, Melissa Stewart, and today I get to talk to bilingual children's book author, Jillian Bright. Well, we're doing it. We are talking about unplanned pregnancy, your intuition, and how they all play into your life together. Jillian and I share this beautiful space and time where we really connect about each of our unplanned pregnancies and how we came to the decisions to become mamas. You get to hear a little about each of our stories, and Jillian tells us all about going through with the birth and raising her little man in North Argentina at her family's winery, and how she became a children's author and now writes about transformative travel. She is now living in Rome, Italy with her son and parenting partner, and she is diving deep into her writing career. She is so fascinating, and we talk about so many things from traveling to writing to coaching to babies. I absolutely loved connecting with Jillian, and I hope you find some solace or at least a different perspective from our stories. You're listening to the Live with Audacity podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Stewart. Audacity is defined by Merriam-Webster as intrepid boldness or disregard for normal constraints. And that's exactly what we have here. The Live with Audacity podcast is aimed at giving you the courage to explore your someday dreams, do things your way, and start making things happen in your life right now. I'm a mama to 4 kiddos ranging from college student to kindergartner, wife to a high school football and track coach, and a multi-passionate entrepreneur. Together with my guests, we're going to teach you how to live with audacity and intentionality, discover and utilize your unique skills and talents, and step into who you are meant to be in order to make your someday dreams a reality. Are you ready? Here we go. Hey everyone, I am so excited to have Miss Jillian Bright today on the podcast. I got to meet Jillian in one of the business groups that I am a part of. I'm going to give Samantha Siffring a shout out right now because she has one of the best business women mamas group out there. And actually, Jillian and I were just talking about this, that we have met so many wonderful, amazing women in that group. But I loved Jillian's story. She is so cool, you guys. I'm so excited for y'all to get to meet her. She's a bikini designer, a children's book author, and a transformative traveler. So, Jillian, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And tell us a little bit about you and how you got to this place.
Sure. It's an interesting story, and I'll try and make it not as long as it could be. But I started, I know, isn't that how it always is?
Exactly.
I started traveling internationally by myself when I was in my early 20s. And my very first trip, I was supposed to go teach English in Peru. 3 months traveling and then 2 months teaching English. Well, my third day, I believe, traveling, I got an email from the teacher of the school saying, "I'm sorry, I'm closing up shop. Thanhanks anyways."
Oh my gosh.
I was like, oh
What
my
the world?
goodness. Exactly. I had budgeted to only be on the road for, actually, I'm sorry, change that. I would budget to be on the road for a month, school, like Spanish school for a month, and then teaching English for 3 months. Sorry, it's been a little over a decade, so my numbers get all fudgy. Anyways, So I thought, okay, well, let's just see how it goes. So my schedule went out the window, as it does, and I found myself in Ecuador. My school was done, and I thought, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. I have an overdrawn bank account, $200 cash in my wallet, and I have no job. I have no way to do this. And this is way before digital nomadism. This was back in 2006. And you were lucky if you found an internet cafe that worked at, had any kind of dial-up. So anyways, I thought,
Wow.
okay, I can either figure something out or I can go home. And I was sitting in this cafe in Quito, Ecuador, and I thought, I'm not going home. Like, I wanted to do this. And so I got a hold of a friend of mine that I met up in Belize, and him and his friends were traveling south. And he said, "We're in Costa Rica. If you want any kind of job in Latin America, come to Costa Rica because you're going to have the best chance at getting a job in the tourism industry." I said, "Great. I'm on standby. As soon as I get on a flight, I will let you know." I waited 3 days. 3 days passed where they left all the biggest like tourism spots. And I just thought, oh my goodness, my chances of getting a job are just going down the drain. And then I got a ticket and he said, "Great, we'll be in Montezuma." I said, "All right, I don't know where the heck that is, but I'll meet you." Turns out Montezuma is this teeny tiny little town, like less than 500 people. I landed there. They left the next day and I got a job the day after that. And I stayed for 6 years.
Wow, that's so crazy.
And on and off basically, but that's where my bikini business started because I graduated college right in the awful depths of the recession. And so I said, well,
Uh-huh.
international politics degree out the window you go. I'm going to move back to Costa Rica and make bikinis for a living. That's also where I met the father of my son. I actually was working for his father at his restaurant for about 5 years before he
Okay.
showed up. He's from Rome. He showed up to visit his dad, and we just hit it off. And I didn't stay there, but for 6 years I did, and I kept in touch. And we eventually met back up. And I said, "Wow, we should try this again." He said, "Yeah, let's try this again. I'm in Argentina. Let's make it work." Great. So I was traveling around the world at the time. I landed in Chile. I was about to get on the bus to cross the border over into Argentina, and I got robbed. And they took everything. Like I had been traveling, like I said, for about a year. I'd hit probably about 20 countries, and I had everything in an external hard drive. So anything that didn't get published to social media, all my writing, all my photography, everything that was gonna like be my travel blog and be my like foundation for my travel writing and freelance career, just gone.
Oh my God.
So I speak fluent Spanish, so that was a major plus. I felt very confident in my ability to deal with the situation. So I dealt with, getting a replacement passport, getting on the bus again the next day. I landed at my dear friend who we ended up deciding to get back together. And about 3 or 4 weeks after that, I found out I was pregnant.
Oh my gosh. Well, hold on real quick. When you
Yeah.
got robbed, how did you deal with that? How did you did you just go to a hotel and cry, or what happened? How did you
That's
deal with
funny.
it?
That's funny you said that. I actually didn't cry until I got to my hotel and there was not hot water. but no,
Oh.
but no, basically what happened was I got a guy who wanted to help me out, and he just gave me enough money to take a taxi to the embassy. And once I got to the embassy, like the US embassy, it was all good and well. I just texted, I sent a Facebook message to my soon to be friend, boyfriend, whatever you want to call him at the time. And he Western Union me the money. A lady from the embassy walked with me over to Western Union. We pulled out the money because to get your money from Western Union, you have to have a passport, but they're obviously not going to give you your passport without you paying for it.
Oh my
So
word.
I know. So they printed it out. She walked with me. I got the money, went back to the embassy, paid for it. And then I had just enough money to take a taxi to the hotel and pay for my little hotel that night. And then I was able to get on the bus the next day. So being a US citizen is awesome. If you ever get robbed, anything happens, go straight to the embassy and you will be taken care of. No problem.
Oh wow.
Yeah, immediate. Like I
Wow.
had my passport in less than a few hours. So it was not nearly as stressful as it could have been. It was just losing like a year's worth of work. That was the just
Yeah.
dagger
Yeah,
to the
gut
soul.
wrenching. Oh
So bad.
man.
That was 3 years
Oh.
ago almost, and I still just oh God, I could shed tears. But
Right? Oh
it is what it
gosh, I bet
is.
that's so awful. But okay, so after you met up with your significant other, what happened then?
So I did keep working. I said, heck, if I'm going to let these thieves tear my dream away. Like I was working in such a fevered sense of determination. I was probably working out of some state of denial. But anyways, the day that I was going to hit publish on my blog, that's the day I found out I was pregnant. And I was like, I just can't do this. Like something just,
What?
I kid you not. It was the day that I was going to hit publish. I was like, I, after I saw those little pink lines on that stinking test, I was like, I just can't. All of a sudden, my life had immediately been shifted, and there was a depth that I read those travel articles. I'm like, this is superficial crap. I cannot publish this.
Oh my
And
gosh.
actually wasn't sure. We weren't sure if I was going to keep it. He was still studying. He's a winemaker now, but he was studying wine at the time. I had just been robbed. Like we were not in a place to. We had just gotten back together after spending 3.5, 4 years apart. So we were not in the ideal place to start a family at all.
Right.
And abortion is illegal in Argentina. So I said, okay, I'm going to get on a plane and go home to California to deal with this then, because I can't do it here. And he said, well, whatever you want to do, I support that. And he had to fly back to Italy. I think I said this, he's from Rome. And so I was at the apartment for one night without him. And I took a second. I thought, man, this is a really big deal. I said, if I just let myself be happy about this, how would I feel? And it was like, boom, this pulsing gold light just radiated through me from the middle of my belly all the way out to my fingertips. Like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
thought, oh my Lord, I'm keeping this baby.
Oh.
Okay. Whoa, here we
You're
go.
like, did not see that coming.
Nope. It's like the universe just like yanked my dream out of my hands and plopped this other little seed in my lap and said, all right, what you gonna do now?
Oh my gosh, that's so great. And so let me ask you this. I mean, other than the fact that you felt like you guys weren't in a place really to raise a child together yet, was there any other reason that you were like, I don't know about this, or were you worried about what other people would think, or your family or anything like that, or like how'd you come to that conclusion originally?
I don't think it had anything to do with other people thought. That I have to say, one of the wonderful things about my life is since I was in my early 20s, I've kind of been doing whatever I wanted to anyways. So this was a no-brainer to not think about, like, this is a big, big thing. I'm not thinking about anybody else. But money was an issue. Money was a big issue because he was still in school. And I was just finishing a trip. I had no money left and I had just been robbed. I had like no money. I didn't have anywhere that was a permanent place to live. He was about to finish up school in Argentina and start traveling to different wineries around the world to get internship experience. So money was a big one. The fact that we had just gotten back together and we didn't have, although we had a very stable friendship and we loved and respected each other a lot, it was very fresh and new to be back together. So that was a big one. And I think, to be honest with you, the biggest one was, this is not what I had planned. Like I did not even know if I wanted to ever have kids, let alone, oh, well, you better decide right now because you've got about 6 weeks before you can't, like, there's the point of no return. But I am a big, big proponent of following your gut, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, that extra sense that just you hear in your head or you feel in your body. Like if you don't listen to that, my experience is that things can go really, really wrong. Like I knew that if I didn't lean into what life offered, even though it was unknown and it wasn't necessarily scary, but it just wasn't what I wanted. Like not in the sense that I didn't want it now that it happened, but it wasn't something that motherhood was never something that I wanted. Absolutely not. And it, like I said, it just wasn't something that I had never like wanted to be a mom all my life, these kinds of things. So I was just like, wow, is this what I want to do? And then I thought, you know what? The biggest thing was if I hadn't gotten robbed, would I what would I do? Would I not want to keep this? Would I be so focused on this like potential career that I wouldn't be open to this opportunity?
You know, it's so
And
funny
yeah.
that you say that. I actually saw a friend of mine posted earlier this morning, and seriously, it's so strange and ironic. But following your intuition has been the big theme in my life for now going on 2 weeks at least. And so this friend posted something. I actually just listened to a podcast by Yolanda Boyer the other day that was like, coincidences don't exist. It's the universe directing you and guiding you. And then my
Mhm.
friend had posted something like, coincidences are God's way of redirecting you, or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I think
and
so.
yeah, right. I totally believe that. And so I think it's so super awesome that you're saying that. I love that part of your story. And while you were talking about, you just really had to figure out if that's really what you wanted. I have had tears in my eyes because I was thinking that's almost the exact same thing that happened for me. I said for years, I was like, I don't even really like little kids. Like, they're
Exactly.
annoying.
They are. Well, they can be. Yeah.
Yeah, they can be. I feel like the older I get, the more I like them. But
Yes.
at 17, I did not really like little kids, and
Oh,
I too got pregnant and was just like, oh, and thought that, yeah, I'm 17 years old. I'm not supposed to have a kid right now. I'm a pretty smart girl, and I'm a middle class girl, and we don't get pregnant and have babies and all this stuff. And me getting pregnant at 17 was not reflective of the life I had led up to that point. So it was kind of embarrassing, right? And so, yeah, but I was just like, you know what? My mom told me, and it's funny because I had been against abortion forever. Any research paper I ever wanted to do was always about the effects of abortion. And so I told my mom, I was like, I think I'm not going to have the baby. And she was like, what in the world? Like, that's not even who
Oh,
you are. What's wrong
wow.
with you? And she told me, she said, just remember, it's not the baby's fault. And I was like, yeah, duh. Like, I totally know that. I don't know what is wrong with me or why that ever even crossed my mind. But, when you're 17, you're like, holy crap, what am I going to do? So, anyway,
And it's
I
a
just
big
relate so much.
I know, I agree with you. It's
Yeah.
it's just such a big like boom thing that happens that you consider things that you never thought that you would consider. Whether you're against abortion, you think, oh, I'm not going to have this, or you are for it, and all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, I feel in my heart to keep this. There's lots of
Yeah.
different, very extreme reactions that happen when such a really, really big thing like unplanned pregnancy happens to you. And it
Yeah.
happens to so many
Totally.
women. I wanted to just mention because I heard you say that like I don't remember, I don't know if the word you used was shame or you felt embarrassed. There are so many women who experience unplanned pregnancy, and almost all of them feel embarrassed. And it's very
Yeah.
interesting to me that that is our reaction to something that wasn't supposed to happen in our minds, but biologically, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. And it's like, it's really hard to be in my head anyways, it's hard to be at the same time accepting of this change that's happened to me, and at the same time telling other women like this happens to so many women, like be easier on yourself, give yourself more grace, it's okay, like don't judge yourself and don't let anybody judge you. It's a very interesting place, unplanned pregnancy.
Yeah. It is. It's a very weird place too, because, you know, I'm not trying to, talk badly about men, but they don't have to deal with that. No
Mm,
one looks at them and is like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a slut." You know what I mean?
right, yeah.
Um, with mine, that was my first consensual time that I got
Whoa.
pregnant. And so, yeah, at 17 years old, who's been a good girl up to this point, it's like it was shocking for everyone, including
No
myself.
kidding. Well, yeah, I
So
bet,
yeah,
especially for you. Whoa.
Yeah, it was crazy. So then it's like, I know I want the baby. I don't really know how I feel about everything else. And, it's just a
Yeah.
big, long story. But back to
Yeah.
you. How did everything end up working out? I want to hear all about your baby.
It ended up working out. First of all, I did go back to California. I moved. I had a really tough pregnancy, not physically, but emotionally, because after traveling the world for a year, I was all of a sudden broke, unemployed, and living with my parents, pregnant,
Oh,
while my partner was 6,000 miles away. So that wasn't
yeah.
fun. But he came back to California a few months before I went into labor to work in Napa. And
So cool. What a great opportunity that is
it
that
actually
y'all
worked
just
out.
happen to be there.
Yes, my parents live just 2.5 hours away from Napa Valley, and maybe three. So it worked out really well. He was planning to go there anyway. And so he actually didn't have to change any of his plans up until October when our son was born. But I had a home birth in the house that I grew up in, my parents' home. And
That's pretty cool.
that was a total gift. I am a big proponent of following whatever you feel you need to do to be comfortable and confident in your birth. For me, that was not having a birth in a hospital because the hospital nearest me had a very high rate of C-sections. And since
Oh, wow.
I'd been robbed. The pregnancy was unexpected. Like all these things had been major things happening that I felt I had zero control over. I did not want to be in the hands of medical professionals who were going to push for interventions rather than push to empower me to do it when I could do it myself. So I found midwives who um, would, come to my house, and we had lots of conversations, lots of talks about the medical safety, all that, because convincing my partner to have a baby at home was not an easy task, but it was beautiful. It was amazing. Anybody who's interested in home birth, I highly suggest you at least look into it and educate yourself on it because it's a potentially really beautiful experience. But
That's so cool.
yeah, it was really cool. 2 months after my son was born, we moved back to Argentina. But instead of moving to Mendoza, which is the main wine region there where my partner studied and worked, we moved to the north where his parents have a small winery and boutique hotel. And he took care of the hotel for, I think it was like 7 months that we were there while he finished up his exams, and we had a baby there. And so this tiny little hotel is in the middle of nowhere. I kid you not. I mean, it's in the like high desert of the Andes, and when you're standing on the roof of this little hotel, you cannot see a single thing that is made by human hands in 360 degrees as far as the eye can see. At
Oh,
nighttime,
wow.
no, I kid you not, it's in the middle of nowhere. It takes a half an hour to get to the closest town and 3.5 hours to get to the nearest city that has an airport.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's pretty
so
cool.
it's really cool. The place is really cool. It's called Finca Albarossa. So we make wine,
Well,
and I'll
don't get me to say that.
oh man, it's amazing. You can check it out if you are so inclined. But basically, I was terrified of postpartum depression because I had such an intense, like, emotional pregnancy. And I was leaving, even though I hadn't like really set roots in California for a long time. That's where my family was. I did have a lot of friends there. And I was really scared about leaving my support network, obviously, to go to the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere with an infant. But being in the middle of nature in the desert where I had never lived, I'd lived in the jungle and the mountains, but I'd never lived in the desert. I was so connected with this completely different experience. And I was able to like strap on my baby and go for walks in the desert every day and find cactus that were like 80 feet tall and
Oh, wow.
go on road trips up into like where the winery is located is about 9 hours from the Chilean border, like from the Atacama Desert, and about 9 hours from the Bolivian border. So it's way up in the middle of the like corner, rural, just I can't even describe it with words over podcast. If you want to look up Northwest Argentina, or even look up, if you go on Instagram and look up the hashtag 100 days of North Argentina, you'll see I did the 100 days project when I was there and traveling, so that people can see like this incredible place. It's just so moving. The people there did not succumb to the Spanish like conquest as easily. So there's really well preserved indigenous religion, family structure, tradition, and heritage. There's not a lot of international tourism in relation to the rest of Argentina. Anyway, the place is gorgeous. And that's where
That's so cool.
yeah, it's pretty much where I became a mom. But I could not get back into writing. And so I took all these experiences and I said, well, maybe I should just do a different kind of writing. And I wrote a children's book.
Oh, how cool. Okay, so that's where the children's book comes from. Awesome. What is it called?
It is called Me, Mama, and the Whole Wide World. And it's about a little girl who travels the world with her mom. And I'd love to make it into a series, which is why I did it that way. But the book one is based in Northwest Argentina. And so it came from this idea that every morning my son and I, my tiny little son, would wake up and we would say like, hello mountains, and like, buenos dias sol, buenos dias cactus. And I would go back and forth with English and Spanish, and we would say hello to everything we see. So the book is this little girl and her mom, and that's how they go through their day. So they say hello to everything, and it goes through the typical day of somewhere in that part of the world. So you have your empanadas for lunch, you have your siesta, you have your walk into town in the afternoon, and she meets like gauchos, like Argentinian cowboys, and artesanas, which are like they're not artists, but they're like they can be fiber artists or jewelry artists or anything like that. And so you get a child's taste of culture and ecology, and it's a bilingual book. And so you also get a little bit of exposure to Spanish as well. But if you don't speak Spanish, you can still read it to your child and still have all these other incredible benefits of cultural awareness and, like I said, ecology, and just a really cool
And then you're both
introduction.
learning.
Exactly. And you're both learning. So that,
I love that.
yeah, that book was a little passion project that I did not expect that one coming either. So
That's so cool. Isn't that so fun how things just work out and show up, and just your life as you think it's supposed to be just does not end up. When you listen to your intuition, your life ends up way better than you could have ever imagined.
I was literally just about to say that when I was going to connect it right back to the intuition. It's like, when you trust that like weird voice that scares the crap out of you but makes you tingle with excitement, like do it. That is the biggest like neon flashing light saying yes, go. And I promise you, your life will be the most wild, exciting, full, fulfilling. It's scary and heartbreaking at times too, but it is a life fully lived. Like that's it for me.
I'm just sitting here listening to you because, first of all, it's totally captivating to me, at least. But yeah, like I just, man, I wish people would listen to their intuition more often and get out of their own heads about what's appropriate or what's accepted or whatever, and do what's right for you, and listen to your intuition.
Yes.
Because I can't tell you the amount of times I have not listened to my intuition and hated where I ended up.
Oh man, tell me about it. I've had some pretty gnarly things happen when I didn't listen to my intuition. Yep. Absolutely.
Oh man, it's so crazy. I'm so glad we're talking about this. Okay, tell me, what is one thing you wish or is there anything that you wish you would have had the courage to do sooner?
Sooner. I guess instead of doing it sooner, I would do it not better, but like more intensely. I tend to, when I start something, I kind of like dabble into it and like sidestep and try a little bit and then do something else and try a little bit. And I wish that I would have started my writing and started my blog when I first started taking my writing seriously back in 2005. But I was like, oh, blogs are stupid. It's just like someone talking about themselves. I don't care. Like, I don't want to be that person. And now that's obviously not what blogging is. But now here we are in 2019. If I would have started my blog in 2005, I kick myself all the time.
I
But
know.
that would be it, I guess.
Yep.
It's just maybe not taking my own writing seriously until, I had to.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally relate to that. I for a year I thought about doing this podcast, and part of it was I'm so glad I waited to do a podcast on what I really wanted to do.
Mhm.
But the other side of it is I wish I would have just got going earlier. That way I could learn faster and probably get to the place where I knew exactly what I really wanted to do all along, but I think I would have gotten there sooner. So,
I think it's
yeah.
funny that you say that. I think when we put our like the pressure on ourselves to do something well or to do something seriously, or if it's like a big deal, we tend to psych ourselves out. If we just pick something that seems fun to us and there aren't those big obstacles and big scary barriers, and we just go for it, and it tends to work out really well. Like, because if it
Mhm.
doesn't work out, then it wasn't like a big deal, and if it does work out, then it's a wonderful surprise. Like, to be honest, that's how my bikini business went. And I don't know, I that's some of my best
Yeah.
business recommendations: just don't take yourself too seriously. And it's something I have to tell myself probably 20 to 27 times a day. I don't know, don't stop it. You're psyching yourself out again.
I totally agree with that too. And because here's the deal, like if I would have really thought about it, okay, what would be the damage of me doing a podcast on finance, which is ridiculous and laughable now, but if I would have done that, like what's if it didn't work out, what is the big deal? Like
Oh,
like
exactly.
oh,
You learn it's
what are the consequences? Nothing. There's
none.
nothing wrong with
Exactly.
that.
You learn so much from or you have the potential to learn so much from any experience you choose to have. It's it's like, well, do it or don't do it. Learn from it, don't learn from it. But time's
You
gonna
got to get
right,
going.
time's gonna pass you by all the same. So you might as well jump on the bandwagon and yeehaw.
Yes, that's my favorite thing to say is that the time is going to pass anyway. Pick something that you're fine doing for the next 10 years and like just get on with it.
Yep.
Love it. Oh, I'm so happy we're connecting so well. It's so fun. Okay. I know we haven't gotten to talk too much about well, we've talked a lot about travel, but I know on your website you say you are a transformative traveler. What does transformative traveling mean?
I think transformative travel is, well, I'll give you my own definition. You can probably find a different definition on Google, but I guess that's true for just about anything. For me,
True.
transformative travel is when you go somewhere, whether it is to the other side of town or the other side of the world, and you open yourself up to the experience to let it do something inside you. And when
Oh.
that happens, when you open yourself up to the experience, you are also it's a two-way thing. You're opening yourself up to the experience, and you're also letting out of you, like, what you want, the footprint that you want to leave in the place that you're at. It's not a one-way street. So it's about what about this place can transform you, and what can you leave behind that transforms this place or a person or something like that. That's what transformative travel is to
I
me.
freaking love that so much. That's so cool. Like, seriously, I would have never guessed that that's what that means. It is, oh, I love that so much. Oh, that's so cool. Man, I really hope that you do start writing more about transformative travel because I think that's so
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Um Hey everyone. Okay, so Jillian and I recorded our podcast a couple of weeks ago, but she reached out and she was like, "Hey, some new things have come up that I would love to update the listeners about." So, Jillian, thanks so much for coming back so that you could update us. Tell us what's been going on.
Hi, thanks for having me back. So basically, when you and I recorded a couple of weeks ago, I was planning on leaving Italy, going back to California, and pursuing my travel blogging and a online shop. And literally, when we were pulling up to the airport, We just drove past it. We didn't
Oh
get on
my
our
gosh, is
flight.
that for real?
I kid you not. We kept driving, and it's something just didn't feel right, so we just kept talking about it. And we looped around, and I was like, are you looping around? He's like, no, let's just go home. I can't do this. Let's go home. I'm like,
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
So plans changed, and things obviously when that big of a thing happens, like, oh yeah, we're not moving 6,000 miles again. We're gonna stay here. So I said, okay, well then I'm gonna go back to doing what I really, really want to do, which is writing. So I'm scratching all of the blogging. I'm scratching all of the online business. I'm getting down to like my heart calling and sole purpose here, and I'm working on publishing my children's book. I am working on a historical fiction book based on like ancient Mediterranean civilizations, which is really exciting.
That's
And
really cool.
it's really interesting. On this quick little bit here, the Phoenicians are who blows my mind. They are so cool. Their civilization sprung up like 2,500 BC, more or less, but they peaked right around the same time as like Rome and like pre-Rome, but Greece was going on at the same time, and they had major trade with ancient Egypt. And so it's so cool that this major civilization that we don't really know very much about was going on at the same time as these other really like heavy hitters. So I'm really excited to write something that kind of ties in things that we know but we don't know that we also don't know. I don't know. It's in the beginning, but it's exciting. And then
That's so cool.
thank you.
So
And
where are you guys living right now?
we are in a
Refresh my
small
memory.
town, about an hour north of Rome, maybe a little over an hour,
Oh,
but
okay,
central Italy.
awesome. That
Mm-hmm.
is that is so cool. Um
Yeah.
okay, I have a quick question.
Shoot.
Have you guys like ventured out to go to close by countries like France and other places near you?
I honestly, I did when my partner and I when we just met up traveling a few years ago before our son was born, before we actually got back together. We visited some friends in Switzerland and we drove through Austria. But since we've been back with baby, we have really kind of just
Mhm.
stuck with Argentina, California, and Italy. But now that we're living here, that is one of the things I am most excited about is to travel around. I mean, I kid you not, within a half of a day, I can be anywhere from northern Norway to Kenya to Jordan. Like options time
Isn't that
wise
so
are
powerful? It's so cool.
yes.
It's so insane that we're having this conversation right now because about an hour before we got on our call, I was looking up how close things are to France, and I wanted to see where Scotland was, and how close London was, and Greece, and all these, Italy, and all these other
Mm-hmm.
places, how they're all kind of just surrounding that area. And this sounds so crazy, but I just keep having this like recurring thing happen where I feel like I'm being told to go to Paris, and I have no idea why. I've never
I
ever
I
ever. Did you
do
really? That's so
it.
crazy.
Yeah, you do it.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, I've literally never had a desire to visit Paris ever. Like, it's like, of course, I want to see the world and it's on the list, but it's definitely not anywhere near the top. So it's just so crazy. Like, it just keeps popping up. So it's wild that we're talking about that, and the future for you. That's so cool.
Yeah, I want to tag something onto that. When I decided that we were going to live here in Italy, I decided this last July, I think we decided to pack up and like really, really move here. And then once we got here, it got really confusing and we decided to go home. But home, whatever that means. But what I kept hearing in my head, my voice, intuition, what have you, was saying, move to Rome, move to Rome, move to Rome. And I'm like, but I don't want to live in Rome. Like, what the heck is in Rome? Like,
Right.
So, but once I got here, I spent a month on the coast. We're not in Rome, we're an hour away, but things are falling into place in the most beautiful way. And that was the easiest way for my intuition to tell me, pack your crap, get on a plane, and move over there, because my brain associated it with Rome, even though I'm not living in Rome. I go there like
Right.
on the weekends sometimes, but it's really interesting what if you book a trip to Paris, you might meet someone there within 24 hours that takes you who knows on some crazy adventure somewhere else, or the next piece of the crazy puzzle. You never know, but whatever
I
your brain
know.
is
It's,
thinking with Paris, like follow that breadcrumb trail of whatever it is, do it.
girl, I literally have tears in my eyes. It is so weird and just like powerful. And so right now I'm in that place where I have to be like, I have no idea how this is going to happen. I'm releasing the how,
There you
and
go.
it'll manifest itself if I'm really supposed to go there. So that it's in the
Do it.
universe's hands.
I love it. And if you once you book your ticket, let me know. I'll come meet
I
you.
will. I know. I
It's
That's
so
so
fun.
funny because I was like, man, when we were on our last call, we talked about how I wanted to come and all the
Yeah.
food and all that stuff. Oh my gosh, I literally have chills all over thinking about how that was our conversation previously, and here we are. That's just mind blowing right now.
My arms still have goosebumps. This is you got to
Me
do it.
too. Oh, that's so
Something is
wild.
hanging out there waiting for you.
And I totally did not mean to change this and warp it into
No,
being about me at all. I'm so sorry, but I
no, no,
just thought
no.
that was so
Flow.
cool.
That is so cool. No, I really think that when you start to hear those things, that those are your big, giant, flashing neon signs. It's like a one of those old school arrows that just points down into like the bar, like the saloon door. You know what I'm talking about? Those just big
Yeah.
flashing arrows, like pointing, go here. Like you may not be able to
Like
see the
on
whole road, but just walk through this door.
Yeah, it's so strange. When you said the big flashing light above the saloon doors, I totally pictured Beetlejuice when it has that flashing sign.
Oh my
I
goodness.
don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever seen that movie where
Yeah, a long time
oh
ago.
my gosh.
I need to
Uh
rewatch that.
I know, it just came on TV the other day, so it was funny that you said that. Man, that's so neat. I am so excited about your future and your plans and all that stuff. I'm excited about the book. Oh, it's going to be so incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited. And one of the other things about pursuing writing is it's not something, I don't know, the whole online business community right now is so into coaching and courses and hitting your like 5K, 10K months or whatever. And you don't really do that as an author. You sell a product that costs like 10 or $12. And so it's really interesting to be switching gears from trying to have an online business to trying to be a more traditional author. Um, and it feels
Yeah.
really scary money wise, to be honest. But at the
Mhm.
same time, it's like, well, if this is what I'm feeling it for a reason. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know,
so,
it's so I'm so glad that you brought that up because I have been in a space where, and I'm sure we've talked about this, where people keep saying, "How are you going to monetize the podcast?"
mm-hmm.
And I keep sitting with this, and I'm just like, I have no idea. You know, my super passion is talking to women like you and hearing about how you guys got to the place that you're at and how you listen to your intuition and things like that. And so that we can tell those stories to get other women to listen to their intuition and understand that, that calling that they have to either write the book or go to Paris or whatever is the universe leading you in the direction that you are supposed to go, to fulfill your purpose and your calling on the earth. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just keep sitting with that. And I'm like, I want to coach women to get over the fear and listen, but like, I'm just in that place where I just don't want to do it like everyone else. You know what I mean? And I just keep
Yes.
waiting for
Yes.
the
Yes.
light to just
Yes.
be like, here's how it's really supposed to be. So,
You know what? I think I think it will. I think that light will come on. I think for me having this shift has been such a blessing because I was getting so stinking sick of all the same kind of online marketing, the same kind of how to monetize this and how to upsell that and how to build out a course out of that, how to repurpose your content, blah blah. It was annoying. It was so annoying. And I
you can't
really
see me,
think,
but I'm shaking my head like crazy right now. Okay, go
yes,
ahead.
it is. And so I thought, man, if I'm annoyed with this, it's either happening to a bunch of other people right now, or it's going to happen to the majority of the population very soon just because I've been like reading a lot about how to do online marketing and all that kind of stuff. And so I keep thinking there's going to be a shift soon. Once this stuff starts to get annoying, people don't listen anymore. And so
Right.
I thought people will always want to hear stories. And for me, telling stories in a more traditional sense, like a book, makes sense to me. And I think for you having this podcast, eventually something's going to click for you in a really unique way, whether it's monetization or it just leads to another really amazing opportunity for you. I fully believe that. I've binged on your podcast a few times actually
Oh,
since we had our first chat, and I really think you have something fantastic to offer women, and
oh,
I don't think that it has to be like part of the strategy. I don't know. I just
yeah,
think
it's
it can
so
be valuable for what
strange.
it is. Yeah.
It's really strange that you're saying that because when I started the podcast, it was like, okay, well, what are you promoting? Well, I'm not promoting anything. I just want to tell people
Hmm.
stories. So yeah, I never used it as like a platform as far as, bringing people to my business or anything like that. And it's so funny because now I feel weird about calling it a business. I talked to my husband. I'm like, well, I need to work on the business. Well, it's not really a business. It's just a passion project right now.
Hmm.
But that's so funny that it's just so crazy how the universe brought you and I together to talk about this because this is so refreshing. I needed this.
I
I hope
agree.
somebody else needs it too.
I think so. I think on one hand, it's really cool that you can get online and you can find a coach to help you through just about whatever you need or want. I think it's really cool that you can find classes about everything from CPR to watercolor to online marketing to, anything you want.
Anything.
Anything. And that's the options. That's great. I think there's so much really cool potential, but it can also be incredibly overwhelming, especially when you're on the production side of it. It's like, I want to offer something that is of real value, that's a service that people want. I don't want to be convincing anybody to do anything. I just want people to be happy and to help them and to tell stories. And if one person, like, I'll use this as an example. I just wrote a quick blog on my Instagram today. Just I'm really feeling pumped with a lot of the changes going on, and I just wrote that down. And my aunt wrote me back saying that she actually had to say goodbye to her mother today. Not like her mother passed away, but her mom has pancreatic cancer, and she decided that she wanted to spend her last time with her other daughter that she never gets to see. And so my aunt had to say
Oh,
goodbye to her mom and put her on a flight, knowing that that was the last time she'd see her mom. And she just wrote me and told me that your story today just filled me with so much love and inspiration. Thank you so much. I'm paraphrasing, but those are the kinds of things that you read and you're like, oh, I
yeah.
touched someone today. Like, really, that's 100% what it boils down to me. Yes, of course, I want to make money. I would love to travel all over the place and have great things, everything. But that's not why I write. That's not why I love sitting here and having conversations like this with you. It's deeper. You want to do something special. And I think it's
Yes.
really, really hard to do in the online marketing world. It's really hard to cut through the noise. So when you find
I,
it, you
yeah.
you run with it, man. Do it.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, it's so hard to cut through the noise in the online marketing space for sure. And I feel like when we get in that alignment that we're talking about of I want to do this because I want to do it, not because
Mhm.
I'm going to get paid a ton of money. And of course everyone has to make money and survive and all of those things, and I'm figuring out a way to do that while I do this, and that's great, so I can support my family.
Mhm.
um but yeah, man, I just feel like you're called to write, I'm called to have this podcast. Who knows what it'll turn into, but
Mhm.
I hope it changes somebody's life, whether I make a dollar off of it or not. I don't care. I have told this story 1,000 times. I was on my run one day and I was just like, this is so dumb. I want to have the Live with Audacity podcast, and that's what I want to do, and that's what's going to happen. And gosh darn it, I don't care if I make any money at it, but this is just like really on my heart to get this message out there. So, man, I am so glad that the universe changed your world and put you exactly where you're supposed to be. I just think that is the coolest thing, and these are my favorite stories in the whole world.
Thank you. They're mine too because it, man, I just want everyone to know when you have something coming up in your life, like I had with getting back on the plane to California, I was finding things that I was excited about. I was excited to be close to friends. I was doing my best to be positive about a situation that I thought I didn't have any control over. But at the same time, I couldn't even imagine myself back in California. I couldn't picture myself getting on the plane. Even though I was in the car on the way to the airport, I couldn't it's like my brain couldn't fathom that I was going. And I it didn't happen. Like it is never too
It's
late to change your mind, to really assess like what do I really want here? Like what do we really want? Is this really what's best? We think it's what's best, but is it? Like I don't know.
sometimes
It's just
our
one of those things
brain.
when you just sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I was just gonna say sometimes our brain is so smart that it's dumb, right? Like it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't hear like the energy in the universe and the
Yes.
I keep saying the universe. It doesn't hear God or,
Hmm.
whatever it is in our hearts that are like, this is not right, or,
Yeah.
go this way or whatever, because it's just like so illogical and it sounds so ridiculous out loud, but you're like, I don't know. I just have to trust this because, I've never been steered wrong when I listened to it before.
Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and say this because I highly doubt my partner's actually going to listen to this podcast. But he and I are not together right now. And so that's why we were saying, I don't think this is going to work for us to stay here because we would have to live together. And so we are still living together, even though we are not together. And even though that's difficult sometimes, it still feels better than taking my son and moving 6,000 miles away. And so I just urge everyone to be open to things that you don't automatically think you would be comfortable with or that you think would be good for you. And certainly don't listen to anyone else who says they think something is going to be good or bad for you because I can't tell you how many
Amen.
girlfriends think I'm nuts for being here. And it's like, well, you know, you don't, I guess I think you
You,
have my best interests at heart, but I also don't think that you have the whole picture. So I'm not here because I
right.
want to make a relationship work. I'm here because my partner, whatever you want to call him, he's a wonderful dad, and my son deserves to grow up with his father.
That's
That's
exactly
it.
right.
And like you have your reasons for doing something. You have your reasons for believing in something. And when you open your mind to the possibility that that might actually happen or be true, really crazy, amazing things can happen.
Yeah. So let's do a quick rapid fire. I'm so glad you were here. We got to talk about so many things. What is a book, article, person, or talk that changed your life?
Two books. One of them is Women Who Run with Wolves. That's pretty popular. But then the other one is called Aphrodite's Daughters. And it's about like women telling what sex means to them. And it's astonishing how how women can perceive sex as something completely non-sexual. Anyways, excellent book, Aphrodite's Daughters and Women Who Run with Wolves.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, what is your favorite Friday night at home wherever you're currently living?
Oh man. Um Going out to a fabulous dinner or cooking one at home, having some really good wine and laughing a lot.
Oh,
That's
yes.
that's my idea of a fabulous Friday night.
I feel like if I lived in Rome, Friday would be my absolute favorite evening of ever because, yeah, just going out and eating so much
Yes.
good food and having some wine and oh man, that sounds like seriously the life. I feel like Italians really know how to live, right?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Like there if you take one thing away from Italy, it's how to richly enjoy like the sensual pleasures of life. The food, the wine, the feel of the water on your skin, just they've got it down.
Man, that's so cool. I
Mhm.
am totally moving that probably to the top of my list of places to visit because
Do
I
it.
just, people always say like, "Oh, I want to go to Italy or I want to go to Rome." And it's like, "Yeah, I think everybody wants to do that." But no, I think I really want to do that. Food is like my best friend.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about Italy too is I mean, it only unified as a country maybe 150, 200 years ago, maybe. And so each region is very, very distinct in terms of food. So when you're ready to do your food tour, you let me know and I'll tell you where to go.
Girl, I just got chills all over my body. A food tour is the thing I need in my life, like yesterday. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yes, we are so doing that.
Food and wine, food and
Okay.
wine.
Yes. I would ask you what's the next vacation that you're planning, but it seems like your whole life is a vacation
I
and work, of
wish.
course. But
No, I think that the very next like mini vacation I'm planning is when my son and I go fly back to Italy next week. My partner's not coming. He won't be able to come until Christmas. So we are planning a little trip, maybe to Tahoe or something like that, just the three of us in wintertime so that we can do something small and fun. Not
oh,
some
that
big
is
thing.
cool. That's so fun.
But I can tell you my dream destination right now is Crete. Crete and Greece.
Oh,
I'm like obsessed with Crete
yep.
pictures on Instagram right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, someday.
Greece is Greece has been at the top of my list for so many years, so many years.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm so desperate to see that beautiful blue water.
And I went to Greece once and it was actually my least favorite of all the 20 countries I went to that year. And
Oh, wow.
it just was a few days and it didn't really impress me very much. And I recently read a book based in Greece called The House by the River. And oh my goodness, has it rekindled a desire to see that country like nothing else? I want to go.
That's so fun. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Okay, let me ask you, what is your best advice to help our listeners live with audacity?
That would be don't care what people think. I think it's important to care how you make people feel, but how you can't control what they think. And if you obsess about it, you're going to impede your own growth and your own creation in the world. Care what they feel, not what they think.
Ooh, I love that. That's great. Okay, where can people find you to get more information?
My website is a good all around place to go for everything. And that's www.jillianbright.com. And I'm active on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, but Instagram's definitely the one I'm most active on. You'll see a lot more fun and engaging stuff. And my handle is wild, bright, and free.
Okay. Perfect. And everybody, I am going to link all of these places in the show notes. So you'll be able to go and find them really easily. Jillian, thank you so much for coming on. I had the best time with you, and I first of all can't wait to read your book to my kids. I can't wait to do a food tour with you. I think it would just be so
That
fun,
would
and
be
I'm
so
so
fun.
glad I got to meet you. Yeah.
Same. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun and it's always a pleasure about living with Audacity. It's like what I do. So if anything,
Totally.
anything I can do to help someone take steps and bring that into their life is a day well done for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey y'all, I had to jump in here real quick because I need a favor. If you are loving the Live with Audacity podcast, I need you to do me a big solid favor and share it with your friends, share it on social media, and go to the Apple iTunes link and click subscribe, rate it, review it. I need to know your feedback, and I want to keep putting this out for you, so I really need your help to get the message out. Thank you so much for your loyalty and your super kind and sweet words. They mean so terribly much to me.